The role of Kenyan women in trade is set for a major boost as the International Trade Center partners with the Barclays Bank of Kenya to equip at least 10,000 women with skills for trade and connect them to global markets by the year 2020. Take a look.
According to a 2015 report by the Dutch Good Growth Fund, of the 2.3 million small and medium enterprises in Kenya, 48% are owned by women. However, only 20% of these businesses trade internationally, prompting global organizations like the International Trade Center to work with Barclays Bank in launching a capacity-building initiative dubbed She Trades.
She Trades Kenya is the local chapter of the She Trades initiative, which was launched in Sao Paulo, Brazil last September. And its goal is to provide 1 million women-owned businesses globally with international trade opportunities by the year 2020 in order to address the existing imbalance which is currently skewed in favor of men. She Trades Kenya, which is a brainchild of the ITC, emphasizes the use of technology to access new skill sets and market opportunities. Here in Kenya, we will work with the ITC to roll out the program in partnership with KEPSA, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and other partners, targeting 10,000 women-owned businesses in the SME sector by the year 2020.
The immediate aim of She Trades initiative is to create market linkages between local entrepreneurs and global markets. For Kenya, this means advancing an SME economy which contributes 1.4 trillion shillings to the GDP every year.
She Trades is three things in one. One, it's a global commitment from partners around the world to bring 1 million women businesses to markets by 2020. It's a commitment that it's supported by a tracking mechanism. So we don't only want to take commitments, we want to make sure we track what's happening on the ground. The second thing, She Trades, is a commitment, a plan of action to work along 7 constraints that limit the ability of women to trade. The 7 constraints are trade policies, capacity building, data, public procurement, corporate procurement, access to credit, land ownership, very important, ownership rights, because if you don't have them, it's very difficult for you to be able to get credit.
The initiative is among the deals closed during the 10th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization in December 2015, where Barclays committed 5 billion shillings in loans to women entrepreneurs.
The program will have 54 webinars on market analysis tools and 27 e-learning courses. We will also hold 50 workshops and 14 trade exhibitions to connect beneficiaries with international markets. And that, I think, is very important in and of itself. We will be tapping the expertise and the databases of professional organizations such as DFID, the Kenya Association of Women Business Owners, among others, who we will work with closely to ensure successful implementation of this program, as we cannot do this alone. In total, we are investing about 70 million Kenya shillings in this initiative over the next 5 years.
We've been working for over 4 years now with women less than $1 a day, the really super poor in the informal sector, not those that are going to go and knock at Jeremy's door for credit, those that are very far away from that, to connect them under the Ethical Fashion Initiative to connect these more than 10,000 women to markets by investing very heavily in building their capacity to trade. We are working with a group of 4 companies in Kenya that get supplied by 300 companies all along the Rift Valley in avocados, in pepper, in nuts, to get to up their game on quality to use the trade agreements that Kenya has to access market.
The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, has also thrown its weight behind the initiative as the global body seeks for platforms to assess the opportunities for women in business.
We all know that over the past few decades, there has been very substantial improvement, particularly in gender fairness and access to education. We have seen in many countries mainstreaming women's role in political leadership. We have seen constitutional gains around the world. But there's one area that has been lagging behind, and this area has been women economic empowerment.
She Trades now adds to the growing statistic of women in business initiatives in Kenya, including the private sector-backed Global Trailblazers call to action that will connect 1 million women to global trade by 2020. So far, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance is supporting 10 women in business associations that provide information to over 3,000 women entrepreneurs in Kenya and across Africa.
McKinsey has recently done a study in which McKinsey shows, with very hard evidence, that if we were to remove the current discriminations to the participation of women in the economy compared to men, it would be the equivalent of adding a new China and US economy to the world. That's the size of what we would be adding. So one, we want gender equality in the economy because it's good for the economy. We want more women in trade because we know that companies that are more diverse are more profitable and more productive. So diversity is good for your bottom line. And three, we want more women in trade because we know that when we put money in the pockets of women, the spending pattern of a woman is different from the spending pattern of an average man.